Welcome to the show.
Welcome. How are you?
How's everybody doing? Come on in.
Yes.
Come on into the room. Join us.
Join us.
Have a seat at the table, if you will.
Yes. We'll get
Thank you for tuning into the chat.
Together.
I'm your host, Will.
And I am your host, Shanika.
I like this hair.
Thank
when
you.
did you do that? You did it?
I did. Maybe, so we had Tuesday, maybe like Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
I think it was.
Still not relaxed, right?
No.
So what is Prescott?
Yes.
Looks good.
Yeah.
And that's why you posted the picture. I was like, oh. It looks good. So yeah, come on in, everybody.
Yes.
Get this party started. Hope everybody's having a good week so far.
Safe, healthy week.
A safe, healthy week. Washing those hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got news that today in Virginia Beach, 2 cases.
That does not make me happy at all.
Not make me happy, but I'm trying to. I've been getting. I think fear controlled me for so long. I mean, I had to do some research and then talk to my mom. She's a registered nurse for the health department, and just get information because for some reason I had in my mind that if you get it, you die. But they were like, it basically works its way through,
right?
For most people,
right? If you don't, if you do not have underlying health issues,
yeah, which I had because I'm on an immune suppressant already because of the transplant. I had to be extra careful. So I sent out a text message to the girls in the shop and told them any signs of anybody being sick, and that includes the workers, stay home.
Yes,
I would prefer it come from you, but if your client comes in sick, I'm gonna have to ask them if you know ask them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I did that too for our Toastmasters. I think that of course, I've had that call for a couple of months, and then I'm just like, okay, I really have to just if it's not going down or being subsided or whatever, I'm just gonna have to tell my clients I have to reschedule them. But we meet at a adult living facility, and so I had to tell my Toastmasters members, like, this is where they reside. So if you're sick or been around somebody that's sick, please do not come, because we want to be respectful of
exactly.
Because
everybody's like
right.
And I kind of blame that on. I hate to say the media,
right?
But I have posted this meme where they were like, "Wash your hands and cut off CNN," because I was watching every morning when I get up. I always watch CBS This Morning with Gayle King.
Okay,
and they had like a whole hour special on coronavirus, and so of course you're like a whole hour, so everybody's getting worried,
right?
And, like you were saying earlier, wash your hands,
right?
Of course, people who have been out of the country, especially in those higher risk places, you may have reason to. Want to be more proactive and getting checked and all that kind of stuff, but pretty much wash your hands and practice proper hygiene.
Right, and as I was telling Will earlier today, I went to the Dollar Tree and was just walking up and down the aisles just trying to see what was there and whatnot, and there's no hand sanitizer. And I thought to myself, okay, so they said wash your hands, not rub your hands with hand sanitizer. It was plenty of soap, plenty of little containers of soap, all types of soap, but no hand sanitizer.
No hand sanitizer. Well, my mom is half to blame for that. My mom is the best, but she loves I don't want to say a crisis, but she likes a crisis because she has been going to Lowe's. She went to all the Bath and Body Works.
Yes.
So me and Justin, we have this big old bag of soaps, the little hand sanitizers, the big hand sanitizers. I'm like, okay, so we prepare. Oh, she bought the shop at Sam's, the big things of Clorox wipes.
Yes.
And then 6 cans of the purple wipes.
Right.
So I'm like,
but my thing is, but what's funny to me though is what I think is so who was hand sanitizing and washing their hands before the coronavirus?
That's why we got the coronavirus. I was shocked to know because I thought it was something new, but on the back of the Clorox and the Lysol is listed. It's the first thing.
Right.
Fights coronavirus.
My mama doesn't seem to believe that it is really the coronavirus.
She thinks something else. She thinks I kind of think it's so man-made too. I kind of this is when I started hearing about it overseas after we assassinated whoever the person was. Right. Yeah. Right. And that's what. Yeah.
Right. So my mom is really inclined to believe that.
Hey, I'm not exactly opposed to that.
No, neither am I, because if Lysol can and Lysol wipes, Lysol Clorox, whatever can kill it, then it would seem like, because I bought some, I'm white. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to touch the credit card thing. I don't want nobody to talk to me.
Yeah.
Then I was pissed off because I was walking through Dollar Tree and I heard somebody just and I was like, who is that?
Mhm.
And then I walked down the aisle and I saw he was coughing again. Then he coughed and then he put his hands on the.
Oh, you should put all your stuff back. Like, no.
Yeah, I was just like, but anyway, we do have a couple of people who have joined us. Thank you so much. Hey, Jan, thanks for joining. Thank you so much. Hey, Tanisha, I'm glad you're loving my hair. I'm trying to let it grow out a little bit. It still is not relaxed. I'm proud of myself about that. It's not relaxed. And then I did go ahead and cut down a little side. I'm excited about that too. And it's funny because someone sent me a message and was like, did you cut your own hair? When I posted the picture. And I was like, but of course I did.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've been trying to find somebody to cut my hair. And then it's funny because she posted a picture when she initially went and got it cut. She posted the place where she went and all that. And then she was asking me, could she come to me and get her hair cut? And I thought, now. Really? Because you should have thought about me the first time.
You should have thought about you the first time.
When you went and got it cut.
Yeah.
But you didn't. So here we are. Hey, Amanda. Thanks for joining us, Tanisha and Jan. It's not people up here. Oh, maybe did Justin do the watch
I
party?
don't know. Justin was when I left the house. Justin was taking a test, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure. Let me see. Other than that, how's your week going?
So far it is marvelous. On Sunday, I took a class that I was very excited about. I took a braiding class. Now I do know how to braid, but it was more technique. It was some things I did not like. I didn't know how to box braid, and I did not know how to do the knotless, like adding hair. So now I know how to do that, and I'm ready to get started on braids. And then I learned how to stitch braids, so I was super psyched about that. And that was my first time being down at the Hilton at the Main, because that's where it was at the Main. And
was it like a 101? Was it?
No, it was 50 of us in the class.
50.
Yes, it was 50 of us in the class.
At that rate?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, calculated. I needed to calculate.
Was she by herself?
She had one other person helping her, but basically she was the one.
What?
Yes.
Okay, so I gotta write that down. Okay. Man. All right, everybody. Hey, Jan. Hey, Tanisha. Amanda. Is that Julie?
Julie. Mm-hmm.
Julie. All right. So what are we gonna get started with?
So, all right. So make sure we talked about wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Don't panic.
Yeah, just wash your hands.
Just wash your hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we were going to discuss, I think, a lot of our topics, even my topics, your topics, are talking about relationships and I have not really a lot to say about relationships, but most of our topics kind of lead back into some type of relationships or things like this.
One of our favorite things.
Yes, and I think that I kind of wanted to pick up where we kind of left off, but not to stay on it too long. Last week when we were talking about being dominant. And I thought about you quite a bit. I actually wanted to call you. Yeah, I
got in so much trouble when I got home.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, I could care less, but they were really upset. Yeah. Really upset because they claimed people called them and was like, they couldn't believe that he was doing that or that he said that, blah, 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 blah. I was like, dude, get over it. If I was that upset about it, I would have been gone. It was just, okay. But yeah. I got a little.
But I tried to help him. He was supposed to say what I said. That's not what I meant. I meant stability.
Yeah. Well, he said that at the house, but he was like, "Why do you talk about?" I said, "You know what? I just want to talk about you ever again on the show. How about that?" So when people see you, they say, "Oh, I never knew he was married." Is that what you want?
It's not a good.
He didn't want that. Yeah, right, he didn't want that one. But
no.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello. Thanks for joining. Make sure you all continue to hit share. Please hit share and share this with everybody. All right, so we can get the conversations going. But anyway, about that. So I actually kind of wanted to touch a little bit on vulnerability because when I thought about you, I was like, wow, like okay, I want to talk to him a little bit more about it.
Okay.
So I wanted. My question is, are you hesitant? Are you afraid to be vulnerable to being less dominant?
It's not natural.
It's not natural for you?
Mm-hmm. Usually in relationships, especially when they're same-sex relationships, you fall into your place based upon your natural personality. It's also how you attract the person. Justin is attracted to more of a person who's more of a take-charge person. Whereas I've tried to be in a relationship, like back in the day, I dated a drug dealer who was very, very dominant, and we just bumped heads. It wasn't going to work. he was gonna shoot me eventually. Probably. So it couldn't work. I thought the idea was cute and all that kind of thing, but personality-wise, our personalities didn't mesh, and that's the issue, especially with male on male.
Okay.
Because usually you two dominant people trying to mesh together.
Okay.
Luckily, the ideal situation, you find somebody who's not a pushover or a punk or anything, but somebody who does not mind giving up some of that lead.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Like, would you ever be afraid to let somebody?
I don't not be afraid.
Okay.
Afraid isn't the word. It just wouldn't be natural. It would be an effort for me to relinquish a lot of who I am, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So it would never work. I've tried it a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what because I was like, well, I was trying to figure out like, because as a woman, and it's like, okay, because I feel like being in a marriage, like I feel like I still had to relinquish some of that, like take charge. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do that, but this is my husband. I'm going to let him be the dominant one. But then I felt like sometimes in the beginning that my life was in his hands. And like I was being guided by him, and like the decisions of my life was in his hands. And it's like, okay, how vulnerable am I to doing that? Like, how much did I really have to let go to allow this person to have my life in his hands? And that was every decision going to be based on what he desired or what we desired. So that was my.
So is it a major issue? Do you feel like you're relinquishing part of yourself?
I think
to find harmony in a relationship.
I think in the beginning, not necessarily to find harmony. I think in the beginning, like you just said, like it was like the natural place. Like I didn't feel like I was the one that needed to. Like we just found our places. It's like I cook.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Dishes.
Like you find,
right. I cook. He'll wash dishes because he's not a cooker.
Yeah.
So it's like so he'll do the dishes. I'm not nasty. I'll clean up, but he is a little bit more particular than I am. So some things that he's more particular about, then it's like, okay, like, I've always been a bed maker, but it was like, I knew that he didn't want to come home.
So you defined your own role for your relationship.
Right. But I do think that a lot I left in his hands. Like, okay, so you're gonna pay the bills. Are you sure you're gonna pay the bills? Like I don't want nobody calling saying y'all late on this. Like that was my biggest thing of leaving it in somebody else's hands to make sure, because you hear these horror stories about people saying I gave them this money and the bill didn't get paid, and stuff like that. So for me, it was like that. It's just like, but once he showed himself
responsible,
yes, that okay to allow that to be what it was. So that's what I was like kind of thinking about is what is it like, what's the difference and how is it, how do you find your role or your place?
And that's to me, again, the whole dating process, that's your interview time.
Which is good because that's our next thing, but you
that's the time when you're making sure, okay, so do you like doing this? Because I don't like doing that. You don't want to and it's kind of a challenge in the same-sex relationship, especially male, because so many times sex is brought into the situation, and the way you are sexually could be entirely different than your personality outside of it.
Right.
So
right.
Those issues as well.
All right, so we do have a couple of other people who have joined.
Hey, Jacoby.
Yes, hey, Jacoby, and
Thanks
I think Angelia.
Yeah, Angelia.
Okay,
that's my boo.
Okay, all right.
She looked fabulous this past weekend at the Mayor's Ball. I helped style her, did her hair.
Oh wow!
She looked amazing. I wish I had the picture of the post, but she looked amazing. She got a lot of good feedback. She's running for office for Portsmouth School Board. So we're helping getting her together.
I know the Portsmouth mayor.
Campaign. Do you?
Yes, Walter. Wasn't that the Portsmouth mayor? And he was like, "Can I just want to give you a hug." Was that him?
Give you one. Okay. Walter let that happen. All right, Walter.
He was at the governor's house.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yes.
So, well, yes. So, is this show on TV? It is not, Jacoby. It is. But
if you'd like to help us get there,
absolutely,
we'd appreciate it. Because I think he has a show on TV, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yes. Thank you all. Continue to share. Please join in because we do not want to talk to each other. We really want to talk to y'all. I know I do a lot of looking at Will. It's just because
Hey,
I don't know the
I'm
eye
cute.
contact and all that.
I'm
But
cute.
please, we have a lot that we want you all to
What he said?
oh,
Oh, I haven't. You're awesome, John Rosemary. That okay? All right, Jacoby. Why, Jacoby? We would definitely. You do so much, so we would definitely have you on the show. And just hey, boo. Hope the food ready. We got a lot to do tonight. Okay, let me jump. Can I jump into this topic real quick?
yes,
Okay, so want to talk about relinquishing your power. This has been a busy week for me. Mentally, I'm just overloaded. I was talking to my sister on the way over here, and both of us are just going through these situations where sometimes you're so ambitious, you have this idea of what you want for your life,
right.
and then is that my phone? Okay. Oh, it's on my watch. Justin is using the walkie-talkie. Why are you using the walkie-talkie? I'm on doing the show. Okay. He's like, check something.
Oh yeah, so he is okay.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Justin is check your phone, watch party iPad. Okay. Thank you, Justin. What was I saying? Oh, I'm taking on so much. I have so much going on in my mind. I have decided. I don't know. Did last week I discussed the job or just with you and Walter?
You discussed it with. You mentioned it. I think maybe you didn't, but you talked to us.
Okay, so got this amazing opportunity like 2 weeks ago. To me, one of my values is financial security. I realize and confess that it's like probably my number 2 value as far as value. And got this wonderful job, making a lot of money. Went through the process, got hired. Am scheduled to start April the 6th. Only thing about it, schedule is 1:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Hairstyles in the salon. So that basically negates me being in the salon and pursuing goals like what I'm doing now,
right,
and the coaching. But again, wonderful opportunity. It had benefits and all that kind of stuff to it. And I told them basically that I accepted and have been going through the process to start the job. Was in church Sunday, and pastor was talking about God having a purpose for your life, and when you're on track for your purpose, the devil will always throw something in your way, in your path, that looks like it's the right thing to do,
right,
because he knows what your draws are.
Right.
Like I said, the job was paying me really good money, but it basically takes you off path with what God has for you.
Okay.
And to me, that was confirmation for me saying that I needed to decline the offer. So that's my goal. That's what I'm going to do. I haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm 97.99% sure. Next week, I'm gonna be able to tell you that I sent them that email, told them that I didn't want it. Okay. But went back into the coaching office on yesterday, and I just felt like I was home. Like it's almost a feeling like when I do makeup, I feel like I'm home. Hair, not so much. But when I walked into that coaching office, I just felt home. I felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though I'll be starting from zero, I won't have that big salary. I have to earn everything I get. I still felt like I had the passion enough for what I would be doing to make that happen. Thank you for your talk. I appreciate that.
But I think that I think there's other things I think that will help you along the way, because I was looking up like digital marketing and stuff like that. So I think that if you tap into those things as well, I think that you will find what it is that you're looking for, and you'll be on track. But I think that sometimes I think that it's funny because I struggle sometimes with hearing God's voice and understanding God's voice and knowing that it's really God's voice. And with you saying that, with you saying, your pastor said sometimes the devil will come with what's appealing to you to throw you off track. And I think that sometimes it's a touch from God. It's like, well, how much are you listening and willing to hear me and stay on the path that I've assigned you to? And and yes, it may not be the ideal picture right now, but if you stay focused and you stay on task, it will become the picture that you need it to be. Because of course, we all know that no picture starts off as a picture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It starts off as a blank canvas.
Yeah, and I've done it before. I did it when I first started doing it. I was just like 40. do I want that again, or do I want this package?
But stop,
I know, and I
right,
take
but stop
package.
putting an age on it, because I think
Yeah.
that people have to understand that there's so many people who became who they are in their 40s. It's so many people who became, in their 40s and their 50s. They didn't start
and the
off
Bible
as,
says your latter will be greater. So
yeah,
that's what I'm depending and hoping on, having faith on. But I just wanted to talk about, okay, so Maxine Waters, she was interviewed. She was somewhere, but she said that she had went to a church service and they were playing songs, and her mind just started going. She was resonating. The music was resonating with her, and she said that I got emotional about it because here you had songs like that developed by Black people who lived that resistance and who meant what they said in these Black spirituals. And while we don't have slavery, I think sometimes our minds are still enslaved because we refuse to exercise our judgment, and we're waiting for somebody to give us permission to do and to be. And now that's one thing that I pride myself on. I don't wait for permission. So I wanted to ask you and everybody else, what are you still waiting on permission for from either other people or yourself?
To be good enough.
To be good enough?
I was not expecting to cry today.
Barbara Walters.
I was not expecting to cry today, but I think that I think that it's permission to just to do what I know that I can do and not worry and care about what people think or say.
Yeah.
I think that I'm so consumed. Sometimes I've gotten so consumed in like even spending money for classes that I know that I want to take, that it sometimes I'm just like I need to ask, like, do you think it's a good idea? If people who are not even in my profession,
in your profession, right?
Like they don't know, you don't know anything about what I do.
Yeah, or necessarily your goal,
right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing, is asking people who number one don't know my goals, number two who are not even in my profession, or number three don't even really have any goals themselves. So I find myself like I don't need anybody's permission to spend money, because I go to work. I work. So whatever money that I spend to increase my skill or my knowledge, then I just have to put in the work. I have to, and that's what I had to say that to somebody today. That from this day forward, if you do not, you can't just be willy-nilly occupying my space. Like I don't have. You can't bring your negativity, your negative vibes into my space anymore, because life is short.
Yeah.
Life is too short for you to occupy my space, and you cannot get yourself together.
Yeah.
So I think that less and less, and I think the older that I'm getting, I'm not caring about it. I just want to do, like, I just want to do it. And I have to realize that I'm capable and that I have the skill and the ability to do all the things that God has put in my mind and given me the vision to do. So, I think just.
Are you closer? Are you closer?
To fulfilling to
knowing that you are good enough. From when we started, because we've been talking about both of us feeling that way, do you feel like you're headed in the right direction, or do you feel stuck?
Okay, so I think that once I write the first page of this book that I keep talking about, I'll feel closer.
You'll feel closer.
Yes,
okay.
if I come up with, and I think I kind of know the title of it, but I think that once I write the first page and kind of get a direction going, I think that I will.
Okay, and when is that going to be? When are we going to?
Like I have the book to write it all in. I just need to start.
Okay, so
writing.
Probably about yeah. Okay, I think for myself, it is to accept myself and to be my authentic self. It's funny that Tony, if she's still up here, hey Tony, she was when I was an educator from Mazzani. I think that was the biggest opportunity in my life that I messed up. Totally because I wasn't comfortable with my own skin. I was horrible. It was doing what I absolutely love. I love to teach. I love to be in front of people. I love doing this type of stuff. And I had the opportunity for L'Oreal. But because I was so uncomfortable in who I was and so concerned about what other people thought about me, I couldn't shine. As a matter of fact, just thinking about how much I goofed that opportunity up by just being reserved and afraid to just be myself, I totally messed it up. Is she?
Okay, I'm gonna do that, but I want to respond to what you just said. And it's funny that you said that because when in the class on Sunday, and even with it being 50 people in that class, and it was all women in there. Like when we came in, like they had a playlist going, and it was not like jazz. It was like, like that it was that type of, like, are y'all not gonna be quiet? Are y'all like once we get through this, because Energy was actually the photographer.
Oh, okay.
So once we got through him taking the pictures, it was pretty much kind of like on and popping, even though she was still teaching. But I think that she was in her authentic self, even with some of the even with some of the things that she was saying, but she was still operating in her in her transparency, in her authentic self, and all that. So I think that sometimes, I think that there is a time and a place for the professionalism, but I think that people can appreciate you setting that aside sometimes and being who you really are. Because if you're still able, and I walked away with like, okay, I got what I needed to get, even in the midst of the music going or whatever, I still got what I needed to get, but if it was all of that and I didn't get what I needed to get, then I would have been, I would have been upset. But I think that sometimes, we get so caught up in like, okay, like I have to be, because we see so many times when people aren't being professional. Right. And it's just like, okay, I would never do that. I would never do that. But those same people that you feel are not unprofessional, you find yourself 5 minutes and then 30 minutes later, and then you still
yeah, right.
Yeah. So, I
think it's that authenticity that draws us to them.
Right.
They're a magnet.
Right.
Yeah. Especially with our friend, what is it? MJ.
Yes.
Yeah, from where he was like me, because his first videos, very reserved, laid back, but it's drastically different than who he is now. And I watched, like those I used to skim through them, and a lot of them I would skip through. But as he is now, I'm like laughing half the time, but I can just see how much more comfortable in his skin. Right. I was like the old MJ at Lasagna, where if I had been myself, I would have been one of the key educators. I know it without a doubt. But I was just so afraid to be who I was because I wasn't comfortable with who I was. So how close do you think you are to now becoming your identity? I'm much closer. Okay. I'm much closer. Okay. And like I said, making the marriage public was my first step. And ever since then, I've been, Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So exactly. Okay, so we do have some comments. Okay, so we'll go back up. Jacoby said, "You are the ultimate professional, Will. I love working with you." Awesome. Jan says, "Congrats." Jacoby also says, "Get that money." He also says, "You will be fine either way." Also, "You have always lived well." Jan says, "I'm so proud of you, Shanika, and you are amazing." Yes, she's headed in the right direction. Thank you so much. Thank you. But what do you all think? Like, what is it that you're looking for permission to do to operate in your authentic self, maybe? Or like, what is it? Are you needing permission from somebody? Are you finding yourself being held back by fear, or like just share with us a little bit about that? Like, what is it? What you're waiting permission? It's a lot of greatness. You tune in every week. Jacoby, I know, and you're a person I've always admired because you've always done things and you know your time and you don't mind doing a couple of things. If it works, it works. If not, then he's on to the next project. So I know it, for one, I've adopted that type work ethic by watching you a lot. That, couple irons, you see what works, and then you follow that. If not, then okay, on to the next thing. Right. Right. But any comments on this before we move on? But I really wanted to say, but I do kind of agree with Maxine what was just said. I think sometimes our minds are still enslaved because we refuse to exercise our judgment, and we're waiting, for somebody to give us permission. But I think that also with that too, the people who are reserved, I think still like a lot of that, even though my mom never, she never hindered us from being who we were. Like she never took that from us. But I think that growing up, becoming an adult, and then you take on jobs, and and then you have supervisors who just are not good supervisors and things like that. And then you have these ideas, but they never, it's never, nobody ever really taps into your ability to really make decisions, and then they can kind of get suppressed a little bit. So I think that, even though
And then you become that enslaved because you think that your ideas aren't good enough, or nobody would listen to you because you're just the employee, or you're not in management, or you're not, you don't have a higher position where people, or you think that your ideas matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think a lot of that, I experienced a lot of that, even, when I first moved here, the job that I worked at, and then I worked at for a doctor who was not, he was all right, but he was Nigerian, but it was just different. It was just a different experience. And so, and then, people, and even the patients, when they say things, or they call on you and say stuff that's not true about you, so all of that thing, I think that, when you get into jobs too, and that's again why I think I've expressed to Asia that you need to figure out early on whether you are an employer or an employee. Because as an employee, you have the ability to, as an employer, you have the ability to put all of your ideas out there and rock with your own stuff. But when you become an employee, you have to, you're working under
set of guidelines.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. And I think that was over half of the reason why I decided against that job, because even right now, it's a lot of things I can think of. This would be more efficient for the business, the agency that I work for, but it's not my business.
Right.
So,
right.
You got to do it. Do what they say.
Right.
Yes. So, what do you want to talk about? Because they're not commenting on this one.
Okay.
So, what do you?
Guys,
okay.
Jacoby says, I feel you have a gut for a reason.
That's right.
He also says, use it to make your own decisions. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I don't want to move on. I need y'all to comment or share, please, and comment on this, because I think that there's more people out there besides just Will and I who feel like we've needed permission to make moves at one point in our lives. I feel like we're not the only two who are struggling with this. And, I think that this show is a show that we can help each other, like how to move on and to move forward, and not to be stuck in your own head or underneath the thumb of somebody else. So I think the more you all share, we share, we can help one another. Like, what did you do to, yes, thank you, Jacoby, stepping out on faith. And I think that has definitely been a major stepping out on faith, and I talk to my sister about that all the time. Sometimes you just have to step out on faith. And when you step out, God will show up and show out for you. Because the very first salon that I opened up, I was working at a salon with the owner, I mean, literally, the owner was like, so where the salon that you're moving to, you don't need a sign any bigger than a bathroom sign, because nobody's going to see your salon anyway. That's what the person said to me. And I was like, wow. I was like, okay, and I left her salon with 7 clients, and opened up my own salon, and had that salon from 2006 for like 4 or 5 years, and then we moved away to another state. But if I would have listened to her,
that's horrible.
Yes, if I would have listened to her and not step out on faith, even with the handful of clients that I had, I would have still been underneath her thumb.
And that's exactly what she wanted you to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because everybody else had been there forever, and nobody was making a move. But when I went there, I told her, I was like, I'm not staying here. I just need you to understand, I'm not staying here. And I meant that. And I did. And I was there for 7 months, and I left. I couldn't. But I knew that was not my ultimate stop.
Here said, every day I struggle with trying to grow and being able to believe on myself. That's a constant struggle. Yes. But you have to. I think that I think that more people struggle with that than not. Yeah. But I think that you are your coach. You are the team player. Like you have to believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, whether you are an employer and you have people working underneath you, or if you have a team of people, if those people leave, you still ultimately have to rely on yourself. And if you don't believe and trust in your decisions and your ability to continue to build without them, you will be stuck. And you just always have to keep the mindset of you can do it, and you believe in yourself, and what's the next move and what's the next step.
So I just don't, I think a lot of people struggle with that, but you have to always continue to believe in yourself and know that you can do it.
Roslyn said we should insist on the acceptance of who we are or what we do and how we do it, not to be confused with validation from others. Nate says, I'm struggling with a decision to stop doing hair. Yeah, and he's dead serious about that. You know what? And I have to support it because I struggle with it as well. All things are not to last forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
At one point, I was very passionate about it. And I think for a while it served its purpose. I feel what's going on in me is spiritual. I feel like God is calling me everything that I've been through that he said, I delivered you from. Now I want you to use it to help other people. And that's what I feel led to do. So even if Nate was to decide that that's what he wants to do, I'm sure God is pulling you in another direction. So it's not wasted. And then my cousin Haka, certain things I'm dealing with, but I pray God and trust God. Exactly.
Exactly.
See you this weekend too, Cheryl.
Even when you because I think that I've been there too. I think that I've been in the place of just stop doing hair altogether, or like I should be doing more. Like sometimes I feel like I should be doing more. It's like, Lord, I know you just didn't want me to be behind this chair forever.
Well, some people, for me at one point, it was a passion. It was more than just doing hair. It was almost like a ministry because people come in with their stories and all this kind of stuff. People come in devastated because hair to women it affects a lot. So when they're losing their hair and you're helping it grow back and then deal with whatever's going on in the inside surrounding your hair coming out. Yeah, but once I think it becomes a job, and right now it's a job.
Okay.
And that's one way that I know. Okay.
But what's funny too about even with you saying that, like I think that what makes it become a job is people who don't understand how you operate. When people refer people to come in, because I'm dealing with that situation right now. So one of my clients referred somebody to come, and she came, and then she made the comment to my client, I thought you said she was reasonable. And my client was like, well, she is reasonable. Like, what do you mean reasonable? But she said to me when the new person, she said to me, well, I want a style, but I only want a style that's going to cost $40 to $45. I said, well, that's 2 braids. And she was like, well, I'm an adult. I said, but that's 2 braids is what you're going to get for $45. Yeah. Like, I don't understand what you're expecting me to do, because I feel like when you come into my salon, you're not only I'm educating you, like we're having a consultation. A lot of people don't even do consultations anymore. You're getting a consultation. I'm asking you what your hair goals are. I'm telling you what my expectations for you are. I'm giving you free snacks. I'm giving you free water. Right. I'm giving you an atmosphere where it's one-on-one. Yeah. The salon is clean. We're not in here, bouncing it out, and we all we're not doing all that. I'm giving you a professional service as well. So I don't know what it is. So you
deserve to be
compensated
professionally.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So I think that sometimes those people have a way of making you feel like it's a job, because then you have to put on your professional hat and then explain to them, and then at that point make a decision on whether you're going to fire them.
And you don't mind doing that?
No, I do not.
You don't mind doing that?
Not at all.
Let me see, Justin.
Not at all.
Justin, he had all right, okay, I got you. He wanted me to check that. So let me see, this barber, I wanted to read something off of his page because he was just having that situation.
Okay.
Let me see. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So he posted, I'm gonna show it. I wonder if I can show it to everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna show it to everybody. Come over here. Let me know if you can see it, Shamika.
Okay.
So can you see that?
Okay. Yes, kind of, sort of. Oh, yes, I read that.
You read that?
I did see it. I saw that. I saw that. Now, it was disturbing in a sense. It was disturbing.
Like, what are you supposed to do? And I had somebody recently do that. Okay, so it says, the barber said, people want special treatment but don't want to pay for it. So pay for it, I politely say thank you. So they said his name, I want to get my hair cut, but I want to be first. I don't want to be there around men waiting. I will come early. Is that possible? The barber replied, yes, what time? 7 a.m.? And then she said, okay, how much so I can get cash? He said $25. That's the price of his cuts. Price I pay for my cuts. She said, okay. And then a little while later, She said, Corey, I'm going to cancel. I actually found a barber for $16. You take care, and I wish you the best. What?
Right. And but those are the types of people that make you question. Like, what do you
No,
mean?
make me question nothing.
We're right, but it's like, but it makes you go through this whole scenario of like, what the hell?
Mhm.
Like
a lady
did you just
called
do
me,
that?
was referred to me by a client who I'm sure knew how much my weaves were. She asked, when she called the book appointment, I was waiting for the amount question. She never asked that. And then at the end thing, she said, well, I guess I should ask how much it is. I told her the price. She said, ooh, that's kind of steep. I said, okay, yes, that's the price of my service. Let me know if you would like to confirm. And I just left it at that. Because I don't know if that's kind of steep. Was supposed to say, okay, well, how about, is that good for you?
Well, what you want to pay?
Yeah.
You're like, no.
No, it's not negotiable.
Right.
We're not bidding on anything.
Right.
That's the price, or you can go down the street.
Right, exactly.
That's how it is.
Right. Okay, so we need to go back up a little bit. Okay, so Jacoby says you have to turn down negative people and naysayers like the radio and pray on it and get to work. Jardine, hello, thanks for joining, Jardine. Jacoby says, great show. Thank you, Jacoby. Amy says, Shanika, you are so talented. You can branch out into several areas. Y'all just don't know how talented this young lady is. Thank you, Mom. Nate says, me moving was the greatest decision of my life, and me continuing the presence in the salon is like I don't trust God on where He is taking me. And then Jan says, AJ, she just get it from you. Mom, thank you.
I get that.
President is like I don't trust God.
Because I guess he's saying he feels, instead of just being present in Northern Virginia and all the opportunities that has it, he feels like he still needs this down here.
But sometimes that's just kind of like where your heart is, and your heart.
But I don't think his heart is there. I think it's more so
for the stability purposes.
Yeah. Right, Nate? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But they say, can you guys keep me lifted? We sure can.
Yes, thank you. We will. We
will.
But so yeah, I don't know. I just think that people are just I'm just like, I thought I don't know why, I just thought the days of people trying to dictate what they're going to pay or what your prices are was over, but I see that it is not over.
It's over for me.
Yeah, I just can't put up with the foolishness, and I just continue. I just feel like like I told my client, I attract people who are like me, and I don't want anybody in my space.
You learned that in school. You attract who you are.
Yes, and I don't want anybody who is going to, okay, this is what I want to pay, but all the pictures that you keep sending me and showing me are $60. I mean, like my nothing I do other than 2 braids on natural, and that's natural hair, is $45. Like nothing I do in even a haircut. Like if I'm taking you from one style to the next, it starts at $40. Like, so in 2020, I'm not even understanding like why you think that's a shampoo. Like, like
you have to train them. Sometimes you have to go back to the situation and letting people know who you are, and then the right people. Right. Some people, and then you have to understand who's a customer, who's a client. I've had to learn those. I've had to realize that I do, and we learned this in marketing class. All customers are not created equal. So as much as you always say you should treat everybody the same, that's not the truth. That's not the truth, because there are some people who are more vested in your company than the person who already goes to 4 or 5 stylists, and you just next on the list. Right,
and that's pretty much to me what she was coming from somewhere else, because she didn't like that he blew out her hair with a brush or
that's
whatever.
A customer.
Right, and I'm like, okay, so she one more appointment from, and the sad thing about it is this person is wearing a style that she received in the beginning of February, and she says she's going to wear it into Easter. So I'm like, so you're not really interested in your hair growing, because that was the first initial. But anyway, we're not.
That was her goal.
That was what I said to her, and I told her, I said, I'm asking you these questions because I'm trying to make sure that our relationship is going to be okay. Yeah. Because this is the conversation that I'm having with people, because I need you to understand that if you can't follow what I'm telling you to do, this is not the salon for you. You know, and I'm getting bolder about my place, because I'm thinking, I pay. Do you know how much it is for me to?
Yeah,
It's
right.
not cheap by the time I'm done paying all that stuff that I got to
Yeah.
pay to even have the doors open in here.
Right.
No, man. And my name is on all this.
Right.
So anyway.
I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to move past this.
Yes.
Okay, so Monica, R&B singer Monica, she said, never blame a woman for a man's infidelity. And this goes from, could be man, woman, whatever. But it says, never blame a woman for a man's infidelity. So she said, the betrayal of infidelity cuts deep. Not only are you confronted with the idea that you may have not been enough for your partner, but you have to deal with the harsh reality that at some point, another woman was, or another man, whatever. That kind of deception is enough to make a woman angry, and sometimes that anger can be directed at the wrong person. She said on a live videotaping with Tank, she said, typically when people find out their mate is cheating, they will blame the other person more harshly than their mate. And I just find that to be insane. You realize how stupid that is because at the end of the day, the person that you either took vows with or made a commitment with did it. So who do you fault? Who would you fault? I have two scenarios actually.
Well, now I've heard stories, and one I actually seen for myself, and then I heard that the wife was upset with the mistress, okay, and not took the husband back but was like, but if I ever see her, I'm gonna fight her and all this kind of stuff. But my thought is this: as a married person, and then that person who's married, and if they both married, then the other person that need to be handled on the end. But as the married, let's just say one of the person who's married, as Monica was saying, like if it was her husband, I feel like he needs to be addressed because that woman is not going. She can't call him unless he says call me. She can't show up unless he says come over. She can't meet him at the hotel, or they make, you know what I'm saying, whether he's going to the hotel, she's getting a hotel, whatever. She can't do any more to him than what he allows, and he ain't gonna give her no more than what he wants her to have. Yeah. So I feel like ultimately, yes, it starts in your home. You need to address what's in your home first, which is that person. So and then if, and I'm sure at some point this person, but you have to. I just feel like when you are really like a side chick, if you don't know. This is the thing because in that scenario, this person did not know that because the husband told her that he was separated. Yeah. So she did not know. She honestly did not know. And so in some cases, I just don't feel like the other person, like you should forget about what your spouse did and then totally go jump on the other person, because sometimes they're clueless. They have no clue what's going on. So
let me add. Let me tweak the story a little bit. Suppose it's your husband and your bestie. Is it still just the husband playing? Is both of them?
Yes, because that's just a whole nother level of code. That's like a whole nother code of stuff. Like,
so you are the husband and a friend?
Damn them both. Damn them both.
Okay. All right.
What do you think? Like, what do you?
I've never been the type to go after the other person. It's always been. I don't even think, and I've been in a couple of situations like that. I don't even think I ever even address the other person. I could care less. That's not the person who I'm in a relationship with. Right. That's not the person who I've committed and sacrificed for. So yeah, I mean, me and the other person not necessarily going to go hang out, but my issue is with the person I'm in a relationship with. Right. Yeah. Right. Right. Absolutely. Wow. So are you keeping somebody if it was your best friend and your spouse? It's a double funeral. No. Yeah. And I'll pay for that. Yeah. Cremation. That's what we're doing. No. That's just a code that just should not. That's just a line that should not be, crossed. And which is even odder because I'm like, what if it was like your spouse hit on your friend, like if I was like the friend and my friend's spouse hit on me, would I even tell her? That was one of my questions. That was one of the things I want to talk about. It was really about mom and dad. Yeah. So if you knew, if you were somewhere and you saw your friend's spouse hitting on somebody else, would you tell your spouse or would you confront the husband? Would you tell your friend his spouse? Or
Oh
would
my
you,
gosh.
what would you do? Especially knowing how devastated your friend would be. I need my Jeopardy music.
Yes. So I think that I would probably talk to him. I think that if I saw I think I would probably talk to him.
How would that go? What does that look like from Shanika?
First of all, I probably would make myself known. Like, hey.
Yeah, hey.
Hey.
Yeah.
And then because I think that if you see me, see you.
Right.
So I think that if it's not innocent, he would make he would keep it going. And then if it is innocent, I think that he would make his way over to me and be like, you know, this is my coworker, or you know, we here for this, or I mean this is whatever the situation is.
And do you let it go at that?
I'm not going to necessarily let it go. I might not necessarily address my friend right away either. Which is funny because this is bringing back. Okay, so I know somebody. Okay.
Yeah.
I know somebody that this happened to. But the thing about, okay, so it was a person, and then this person's best friend and the husband were cheating, not with each other, but with other people, but they were cheating at the same place.
Okay.
And so the best friend saw the husband, but never told the person because she was also cheating and he was cheating too. So she didn't want him to tell on her, so she didn't tell on him.
Oh, let's agree that. So they're gonna be in a situation where they're gonna agree
to not
to watch each other's back.
Right. Okay. So your loyalty no longer lied with your friend.
My only thing, so you said that you wouldn't say anything, but suppose as your friend later on down the road, a couple of months or whatever, she comes to you to say, you know what, I think X, Y, and Z is having an affair. Do you say something then? Well, you know what?
I would say if
a couple months ago.
Yes, because at that point I feel like because if you came to me and you lied, okay, then that's no longer on me. Because if you came to me and said, this is my friend, this is whoever or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Right. Then I could be like, well, he came, I said something because I didn't think it was necessary because he said it was his friend, so I felt like you knew about it, you know, whatever. So
and I'll look at you like this.
Right. I mean, like I don't know. That's just because I'm in situations where people do that. You step in as the friend, and then he switch talking.
I don't want you talking to her
because she ain't shit.
Right.
Like no,
exactly. You're right. You're right.
So I know that's just that's a very thin line. But okay, let's go back up.
Okay.
So Jan said, seriously, hell no, I'm gonna tell. Russell said, I would check him, but tell him the next time I'm telling her. Nate is thinking about it. Jan also says, I'm telling, and I dare you to lie, because 9 times out of 10, I already got you on my camera.
Oh, Lord, not the camera, them cell phones.
Okay, right. And then Amanda says, laugh out loud, you got it on Snap, Jan Murphy. And then Amy says, if she is really my friend, hands down, I'm telling my friend. I just think, right. I mean, I feel like, but I also feel like you know who you married to. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is sometimes people are just like, it's okay. Like they just accept, because if they have children involved, some people are just like, it doesn't matter. I know that my spouse is a cheater, but I just want to be with my spouse because I want them to be here with our family. And so, then it's
really? Is there people like that?
Yes. I just want to be with this person. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just some people just like, it doesn't matter. That's just this is who I want to be with. This is, and they make it work despite all of that. But you know, so I just think that, you know, I don't know, it's just got to be a very, and I think that you have to know your friend. You have to know your friend enough to say, okay, are they going to believe me? Are they going to turn their back on me? Or is this, or, you know, because as they said, that you can compete with pillow talk. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, sex can do a lot to people. So, and, you know, depending on what kind, I mean, if you're giving out $10 million gifts,
hey,
you know, you know, people tend to forget about
You're right.
it. Right.
You're right.
You know, people tend to forget.
So, okay.
All righty. So, yeah. All right. So, anybody else? Any other comments about that? Are y'all gonna tell? Okay, Nate. We waiting on what you gonna do, Nate? Okay. Amy says, "True, Shanika." So you know, yeah, you can buy your way out of stuff. You can gift your way out of stuff. You can. I mean, because even people in abusive relationships, like I don't know if you've ever known anybody in an abusive relationship, but you know, if you try to convince this person to leave, and it's like that other person is like, you know, I'm sorry. You know, I'm going through a lot. I lost my job and. You know, I just had a moment, and you know, so it's just sometimes some things are just a very fine line. But I just think that you have to understand who if you are the friend telling the friend, like, you know, like if it was like me and Jan, for instance, like I could go to her and be like, look, I don't know what it was, but I saw, you know, whatever, and she can say that to me, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, you just trying to break us up, or she's not gonna be like, oh, you just trying to break, like she's not going. I know her enough to know that she's not going to do that to me, you know, or whatever, and that I'm not going to do that to her. But it's still like, and then the other thing too that burns my hide is the people who be like, so and so said she saw you, like, bitch,
or they.
You're like, why did you tell? Like, I would never tell you nothing else. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know,
throw you up under the bus,
right? Like, I'm never telling you nothing else.
Right. Just you damn Skippy. Yeah, right. Okay, so I have one more topic we want to talk about. So, okay, so you know, Oprah's been doing this tour with Weight Watchers. I think it's called Vision 2020.
Okay.
So I think in her final show, she sat down with Gail, and of course, her bestie Gail. She sat down with her, and of course, they were talking about the Kobe Bryant interview with Lisa Leslie, right? And it came out. So this is what Gail said. She said, the whole ordeal was a very painful situation, but she says, I have moved on. She said, is there a scab? Yeah, but I have moved on. I put on my game face and my big girl pants because I never lost sight of who I was, what I believe I am, and my intention. I've never lost sight of that, but it certainly was a learning curve, and it was very painful, she continued. However, Oprah said that she felt like her belief was one of the biggest sources of her friend's pain was the absence of people's support, people who were quote unquote good people. She said, what was the last thing she said? What was that? She said, in every circumstance, I think this is something for us to remember. It's not the people who are being mean. It's not the badness. It's not the vitriol that is being put out into the world, but it's the good people who remain silent that become so hurtful. She said, I think we can disagree politically, we can disagree socially if you want to, but I think that just humanity should prevail always. I think we still have to figure out a way to navigate that with each other, she continues, that we can disagree and you can be mad at me even, but you can't speak to me in that way that I was spoken to and be threatened. So I want to ask you, because experienced it many times, I want to ask you, how vocal are you in standing up in support or against something that you strongly believe in, even if you're the only one doing it? Because right here, she was like, I guess she probably got texts and the phone calls, the little silent phone calls from the people who were in support, but only people like, what was it, Susan Rice and a couple other people were bold enough to stand up in her defense. So she was just like, what hurt her was all these other people who didn't come to her defense.
Well, okay.
Are you someone who will come to their defense, or are you the kind of just sit back in the background, send a little text, praying for you, girl?
it's funny because I'm actually kind of going through that, and I think somebody threw me under the bus, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to handle it because I want to fuss out every damn body. Everybody.
Okay.
You know, I think that, I think I have to be honest and say that I've kind of probably been on both sides of that fence.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that I spoke up publicly, and then and I think as I got older, because you watch things go down and you're just like, man, I mean, I can't recall like right off, but I was just like, I'm thinking that I may have been in a situation like that before. But I think that like when people are talking about people or if people are saying certain things, and if I was present
Mm-hmm.
and I heard it, or like if somebody's quoting something that somebody said and it's like, no, I was there, that's not what they said, they didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I think that you know, people sometimes have their own agenda, and if somebody's not there to defend themselves, it's like, okay, I don't really think that you know, this person, that's not how that wasn't said, or you know, this is how that, you know, that went down or whatever. But I would have to say I'm sure that I've been on both sides of that. I'm not necessarily speaking out, and maybe I should have and I didn't. But I think as being older, if put in that place, no, that's not no.
Nate said that sent me pilot. The interview, when you say that interview
was amazing.
Was amazing display of how friends come through for one another.
But on the flip side of that, I also think that Gayle has a responsibility to say, in a sense, that, you know, okay, because I have another topic about people coming to people's defense too, or another. But I think even with that, but I think that you have to be responsible and even say to yourself, because, you know, it's like, okay, I know that wasn't, perhaps it was too soon. You know, and I take full responsibility of that, because I think you could say I take full responsibility for that. But please understand, going forward, nobody will have the opportunity to speak to me like that again. Because I think that you have to still take responsibility for it being too soon. And yes, I guess as a journalist, maybe you felt like you were obligated to have to tell his story in totality. Which, okay, I get that. But it was still, and especially somebody who I feel like if you were just a sideline person and not somebody who was his best friend, like, why would you even do that anyway? Because people are still grieving of this man's loss. And if I feel like if you my best friend, don't ask my best friend if I was out in these streets wilding out. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that she still has to take responsibility and not say, you know, people needed to come to my defense. But because do you not at all think that you were slightly wrong? Like just a little bit, not even an inkling, a drop, a mustard seed. Like you didn't think at all that you were wrong for even mentioning that question. Like even if you thought it needed to be talked about, like you could have came back and said, I want to interview you again. Can we talk about this months later?
Right.
But I you know what, for people coming to your defense, and I think that there was still a lot of people who she think that should have came to her defense. That's why they came to her on sidebar, because it's like, I'm praying for you, but your ass was wrong. That's why we didn't publicly,
was all the way, gotcha.
You know, say something.
Walter, do you hear your wife?
Yes.
I'm so proud of her. You expressed that so well. That's why I was saying, wow, I'm like, all right. Good job. High five. Go ahead.
You are so funny.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I came back. Hey, she won that one. I ain't got nothing else to say to it. That was good. Okay. You got one more topic?
Yes.
Okay. I gotta get to the shop, so we're gonna.
Oh yes, we're gonna. And
wrap down the studio. Yeah.
Okay, so this is in reference to, I don't know if anybody has been watching the show Love is Blind. And
no.
It's on Netflix, I think. I think it's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's a new dating show on Netflix, airing over the course of 3 weeks. All right, so it was a gentleman. It was 30 couples. It started off as 30 couples, and when Nate says he doesn't think that she was wrong at all, but we'll come back to that. But okay, so anyway, so it started off with 30 couples, and out of the 30 couples, it was only two Black people. So, and what happens is, it's 15 guys and 15 females, and they're all in separate pods.
Okay.
And then they talk to each other and try to get just a relationship kind of going. So they have 10 days to propose to somebody, and after the 10 days, they have 4 weeks to get married.
Yeah.
Okay, so this particular couple, Carlton and Diamond, kind of made a match. Now, Carlton was on an episode many episodes ago on the Atlanta Housewives.
Okay.
And it was this show where not Kenya, but Portia, modeling. The one Cynthia was having models come in, and Kenya was helping her, judge these models or whatever, and to find out. And he was Cynthia's assistant at the time. So anyway, he makes a match with Diamond, and they're talking to each other through the wall. So day 6 comes, and he proposes to Diamond. Day seven is a day, because you still have to wait a day after you propose. So day 7, they see each other. They go and they meet or whatever. And in their meeting, he tells her that he used to date men, or he has dated men before.
Okay. So
when he told her that, she just looked at him and she didn't say nothing right away. And so that upset him. And he said, "That's why I don't date bitches like you."
Whoa.
That's why I don't date bitches like you now. Something to that effect, right? And so she just kind of like looked at him, and he like kind of went off, and she was like, "So, all of this goes through," and she's like, "I wasn't mad at the fact that he has dated men. I was mad at the fact that he didn't tell me in the 6 days that we were communicating that he's dated men before." And so, in her interview or whatever. And so, but anyway, needless to say, they did not make a match. And she was just like, "I just can't do that." And so he was upset. But he also had made a post, excuse me, that basically was saying people didn't come to his defense. And when all this was happening, people were coming after him saying he should have told her sooner than that. People didn't come to his defense. But I think that what defense were people going to come? And then, okay, so basically my question is this. Number one, at what point should people in that type of situation, should people be coming to your defense? Because I think, and then two, really, this is the question. When you're in dating situations, on dating apps, because I want to talk to people who are on dating apps and meeting people, going on dates and things like that. Like, how long do you start divulging things about who you really are?
That's the interviewing process. I mean, not that he shouldn't have brought it up, but she should have asked in 2020. She definitely should have asked.
And she was saying that she felt like it was something, but she didn't he didn't give those types of clues of like it was something. Like
he have a pocketbook. I mean, they don't look like that no more.
She didn't see him. Right.
Yeah.
She didn't see him. So I guess he never made reference
to questions? I mean, talking about your last relationship, that those didn't come up, or and I think he was telling the producers, like he was, how they sidebar, a sidebar. I'm sure they already knew that was coming.
Well, because that would have been my first question. Like that in this day and time, that's my first. Are you walking?
I talked to. I can't remember what it was, but she said that she said you just have to nowadays. Yeah. I think there's a lot of non-traditional questions that you should be asking initially, like have you ever put your hands on a woman? Like I just want to know, like, have you ever? It's an interviewing process,
right? And so she was just kind of stunned, but I was just like what? I
don't understand what he mean by to my defense. You really can't defend it.
Right. What am I supposed to say? Right, like he mean it. Like I don't know what. Right, like he was trying, but he couldn't figure out the words to say.
You ain't give enough time.
Right, like.
It should be what you get 4 weeks.
You get 10 days to make a proposal, and then after the 10 days, you're to get married in 4 weeks.
Okay. And love is blind because you don't see this person.
You don't see that because y'all in separate pods until you propose. And then when they went to because I think they ended up going to Mexico. No. So and then they went to Mexico, and then he showed out because then he started talking about her hair. He was like her hair was active. So. This was my whole thing too. So even if what you acting like that, I'm still feeling like you feminine. You still acting feminine. Like I don't want that type of energy because if I'm not even carrying on like that, like she's going to get her PhD,
Uh,
and you acting like
I mean, that
yeah.
show was engineered for that type of reaction. I don't even think it's realistic. So I'm glad.
Yeah,
What are you doing watching that?
I wasn't watching it, but I
Oh.
had just kind of been following. Like I was seeing the story just kind of like post, but no, I didn't watch it. But it was just interesting to me because I'm just like that. But that my whole big question is, at what point because I know that when you're dating, not necessarily, or yeah, when you're dating somebody or talking to somebody, you don't know if it's going to be a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So
so
not on the first
sometimes
date.
It's not even safe,
right?
To give up. Yeah, and I think that's a thing that you have to go on. You have to trust your intuition to see where the relationship is going, and then slowly. That's why you should take your time. And get to know a person.
Like, because that's what I'm like. How
different situations, environments.
It was too soon to be like. So, have you ever hit a woman? Or well, I mean, I don't think that's too soon to ever ask, but like more personal questions, like how many partners have you had? If that's one of your questions that you ask, like how soon is that? Or like, were you born a guy? Were you born a girl? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how?
Not the first date, but yeah. Break it up, slide it in, talk about something new. How do you feel about this? See if that's an opportunity for them to bring it in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sometimes you have to make the environment safe for somebody to reveal a couple things.
Yeah, I just so Pamela says trust your gut and ask anything you need to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Dating is just kind of scary. I don't know. Is anybody out? Is anybody on here on any? What time is it? Dating sites.
It's 8:18.
Okay, Jan says that's why I think it's interesting. It takes attraction out of the equation, and you're judging each other on emotional connection. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Which if you don't have the time, and I think that a lot of things are happening that way.
Yeah, but that as you can see, that doesn't always work.
It does not.
The attraction has to be there regardless. Too much weight, I guess, should not be placed on attraction. But I mean, that was said from the get-go. You fall in love with a person and you can't stand to look at them. Well,
see, I always say if my food looks better than you, it's
So that show, that was I was a hot.
Yeah, if I can't look up at out of my plate too long.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not. Yeah, sure. But anyway.
But you know what? I want to thank everybody because after the show, did you see it?
No, I did not.
I mean, it was like after the show, I just kept getting. I had a personal goal, and I'm over halfway there in just a week.
Okay, so
and then sharing and posting. So I want to thank everybody who contributed. A couple people up here now. Please still keep making those donations, and I need some people to join the team so we can actually walk on May the 16th at 17th Street Park in Ocean View. Once I get people on the team, then I know how many T-shirts to order. It's a lot of fun. They're going to be. I don't know if you go on my Facebook page, Will Strayhorn, you'll see from last time. They were doing like the wobble.
They called me and stuff too.
It was really fun. So and then we always go eat.
Did you have a design? Have you have a design?
Because I wanted it to be like a team effort. So I'm waiting to get a team, and then we're doing. So it's 8:00. I think the walk starts at 10 a.m. Check-in starts at 8:30 on Saturday, May the 16th.
Okay. Yeah. And was the link attached to that?
The link no. If you go to the chat, our Facebook page, it's up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up there. All right. So
wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Don't panic.
Sanitizer.
Just wash your hands. You said not hand sanitizer. Yes. I got hand sanitizer in my car, in my bag.
I have Lysol.
Yeah, Lysol. Yeah. But 2 cases here, and don't be scared about just take precaution.
Yeah.
Precaution. All right, y'all.
This is great.
Great. Thank you for your participation, everybody. We had some new faces tonight, so thank you.
Yes, we did. We did.
And I guess we need to talk to the lady about the domestic violence.
Yes.
To get her on. Maybe we can talk to her and see if she wants to do in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
April.
Interesting spin on the domestic violence situation. So make sure you continue to tune in and watch, like, share, love, and meet us back here.
Yes. What I wanted to say is please make sure you all go on the chat if you can. Please, and put some reviews up there. Just let us know if you enjoy this show, if there's things that you think we could change about the show, hopefully nothing and we're doing great and you could just write you loved it up there. But we definitely need some reviews up there just so we could get that part of our page going. we would definitely appreciate you all doing that. So once again, thank you all for joining.
Thank you all. Yes. And we'll see you next week.
Yes, we will.
All right.
See y'all. Bye.